the new shape of Texas. That's what we're calling this thing. I'm joined by the Shaun Rabb. Redistricting in Texas has become a national topic.
Once again. Yeah, this is not new. None of what we're seeing right now is not new, but what is new is when it's happening. It's happening without the census. It's happening before the coming 26 midterms, and it's happening maybe at the behest of President Donald J. Trump.
And President Trump said that he thinks he can get 5 Republican seats in Texas alone. Now, we're not even talking about other states. When I talked to Governor Abbott a few weeks ago when the special session started, he said that, he feels that that DOJ letter and a court opinion is what got this ball rolling, but it's really President Trump being nervous about 2026.
It is. And let's tell people what those are. Okay, early July, I believe the 7th or so, DOJ, Department of Justice, sent a letter to Governor Abbott saying, we want to bring to your attention there are 4 congressional districts in Texas, 3 in Houston, Harris County, 1 in Fort Worth, that are unconstitutionally gerrymandered. That gave the state, I believe, the legal cover they needed to pursue this. After that is when it was added to the call for the special. All right. And so you have that in their favor. Then 2019 Supreme Court ruling says that states can redraw congressional districts based on political grounds, partisan grounds. And Representative Hunter from Corpus Christi told us, look, this is what we're doing.
Over and over again.
Yeah,
he
all
said,
about political performance.
Yeah.
Trump did very well. Mr. Trump did very well in Texas. He did better than Ted Cruz, okay, across the state. I believe he had 56.2%. But in these districts that we're talking about, Mr. Trump did very well over Senator Cruz. And so the Republicans are drawing these districts based on the Hispanic vote, the historic vote for a Republican presidential candidate. I think one of the questions down the road will be, will these people still vote Republican without Donald Trump at the top of that ticket in the midterm?
Yeah, and so when you look at that proposed map, let's start in North Texas first. Mark Vesey's seat was the one mentioned in that DOJ letter, and while his district is changed a lot in this proposed map, he could win the seat. Now, he may have to run against Jasmine Crockett or Julie Johnson, but the district that really got impacted was Julie Johnson's district, going from Dallas and its suburban areas of Dallas to past Tyler, Texas.
Right. And so will it stand up in a court of law, in a federal court? Will it be tested? Of course it'll be tested, but will it stand up? Now, Mark Vesey's district, if I'm not mistaken, was drawn by a federal judge to ensure blacks and browns in that part of Fort Worth and a western part of Dallas County had representation. The way this map has been drawn, it sets up if you will, a civil war between Democrats if all 3 of them want to stay in office.
It moves his seat under this. We're going to keep saying proposed because nothing's approved, but it moves his seat out of Tarrant County completely out of where he lives, and only is in Dallas County. And then now, because that seat was drawn the way it was, Jasmine Crockett, while her seat is safe, she's complained because in that redrawing, it took out the economic engines in her district. Love Field
is gone.
Downtown
Oak Lawn is gone.
Yeah.
Downtown is gone. But yet it's a protected seat in terms of numbers.
Yes. And then if you go to the south, you have in the Houston area a legendary seat, Barbara Jordan's seat. Texas 18 is left vacant because Sylvester Turner died.
Yes.
You got to fight down there too.
You do. You have a big fight down there with Barbara Jordan's seat. Yeah, it's protected, but the way these new districts have been drawn, the 28th, the 35th, and the 9th in South Texas, they put more Hispanics in those districts, but they're still leaning Republican. And that's where the Republicans hope to pick up the seats.
Yeah, and Governor Abbott this morning, we're taping this Monday morning, Governor Abbott went on Fox News and said that these people in these districts voted overwhelmingly for President Trump. And so he sees it. And, the Republican talking point is, well, how are they represented by Democrats if they overwhelmingly voted for President Trump?
But look at the other races in those areas, how they voted. It's a patchwork of Democrats and Republicans down ballot. Yes, they all voted for Donald Trump for reasons that We all know he talked about bringing the economy back. There's a certain charisma, no one can deny it,
Right.
about Donald J. Trump. There's a certain machismo as he exhibited during the campaign that appealed to a lot of people, a lot of minorities who voted for him.
But then you look at areas like Tarrant County. Colin Allred won Tarrant County, but Donald Trump, So yeah, it's a lot. And then not to forget the Austin area. There have seats Lloyd Doggett and
Yeah.
Greg Casar. Basically, they joined their seats. And then in the drawing, you have two Republican seats that touch Travis County. One goes out past College Station.
Right.
One goes to West Texas. It's some interesting drawing.
Very much so. And then there's the question of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which says that these districts must be protected. But then there's another but, because in, I believe, a 2024 Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals ruling said those districts must be protected unless you have two minorities, blacks and Hispanics, in that district together to bring the majority. So there's a lot of questions here, but one thing is certain. They're going to move forward with this. They've already moved forward with this, and I don't know that it can be stopped. I mean, if there's a legal challenge, it takes years to get to
right, and that's the goal. The goal is they just need it passed for
one
2026.
session, one election cycle.
They just need it passed, and so it's going to pass eventually.
Absolutely.
We just have to see when, and we'll tee this up in the next block. But we have to talk about the elephant in the room. Democrats are
not in the room.
Are not in the room. They're in some other states.
Yeah.
Illinois and New York.
Boston, I think.
Yeah.
So we have to discuss that part. We've seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this is the third time or fourth time that they've absconded.
Yeah.
Where's the end game? Because they've not had success in doing this previously.
It definitely gets them airtime. It definitely gets the conversation out there. I mean, they have been on CNN and all these other networks. But yeah, when that runs out, when the session ends August 18th, okay, but then after that, Governor Abbott's just going to call another session.
Yeah.
You can't be in Illinois for the rest of your life.
Right. And the question is, how long can they stay gone? They have jobs. They're attorneys. They're doctors. They work in the oil field. Some of them own businesses. They have families. And at some point, they're going to say, look, I've got to go back and take care of my family. I've left it all to my spouse or whatever the scenario is. But how long can they stay gone, and what is the end game?
All right. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll hear from the legendary SMU political scientist, Cal Jilson. And we are back, and we're joined by SMU political scientist Cal Jilson. Cal, what do you make of what's happened in the last 48 hours?
Well, this is a movie we've seen before, and I think we know how it's going to end, and that is with the passage of these new Republican maps to try to gain up to 5 additional seats in the 2026 midterm elections. But between now and then, between now and final passage, there's going to be a media battle between Democrats and Republicans to craft and control the narrative about what's happening. Democrats are going to argue that this is an assault on democracy and particularly on minority voter rights. Republicans are going to claim that this is entirely legitimate. The federal courts have approved mid-decade redistricting, and they're just trying to advantage Republican majorities in the U.S. Congress.
So let's talk about, Cal, and we watched this movie together a couple of 3 times already. How long do they stay away in your estimation? How long can they be gone?
Well, they're going to try to stay away a couple of weeks to be sure that you get very near the end of this first special session. It's possible that there'll be a bargain struck, because there are a lot of important items, including flood control, on this special session call. But right now, it is focused on redistricting. Abbott is threatening Democrats that if they don't come back, they'll be charged with crimes and all that. And Democrats are promising to stay away. But they'll try to run it up to and past the end of this first special session. But then Abbott will call another one. immediately, and then they're in a difficult position, required to stay away another 30 days. And they would really have to stay away all the way through early November for them actually to block these new districts. And as was said in the earlier block, they've got families, they've got jobs. They're not going to stay away for month after month.
There's already this idea moving forward by both sides in the media to try to win public sentiment. The governor is saying the Democrats are literally holding up progress on flood protections in our state. Yet there's not been a bill introduced yet in this special session as it relates to flood warnings or any other type of flood protections, has there?
Yeah, the Republicans from Governor Abbott on down through the lieutenant governor, presiding officer in the Senate, and big Republican majorities in the House have control of the agenda. And if they wanted to do flood control first before they turn to redistricting, they could have done that. But they chose to focus on redistricting, try to jam that through in the early part of this week, and then go to work on some of those other items. So Republicans control the agenda, and they chose to do redistricting first, and the Democrats felt as if they were forced to react to that focus on redistricting. But it does, in fact, hold up all of these other important items, including flood control. And that's where the fight over the narrative, over the framing of what's happening here by Democrats saying that these new districts are assault on minority voter rights that are protected by the Civil Rights and Voting Rights Act of 1965. And Republicans are saying that we are simply trying to protect and enhance our Republican majorities because through them, we get the kind of conservative policymaking that Texans voted for. And we'll see how those frames, how those partisan claims are received by the public.
Cal, you and Shaun have been around longer than me. This is just my second Democrat walkout. So I'm still just getting used to this type of thing. But in politics, there's winners and losers. Would you say Democrats are the winners early, but Republicans are just going to get I don't want to use the phrase last laugh, but the last say in this? I mean, can Republicans try to spin this to show that Democrats are not passing other legislation, even though there isn't a lot of legislation out there? I mean, the Senate passed a THC ban, but other than that, I haven't really seen any real legislation making its way through this special session. We were talking off camera about, the 18 agenda items, and now we have 2 weeks left.
Yeah, I think you can think of this as multidimensional chess. You can win on one level and lose on another.
That's good.
And the question is, how badly do you lose, and on what level are you losing? And for the Democrats, you can win early by framing this as an assault on voting rights in the state of Texas. Part of a long string where there are restrictions on voter registration, turnout, how you can vote, those kinds of things in 2021, and now another mid-decade redistricting. But at the end of the day, Republicans are going to get their maps, and they'll probably be able to defend them in the federal courts where they will be challenged because, as we were talking earlier in 2019, the federal court said that, in fact, you can redistrict mid-decade, and you can redistrict for partisan purposes. You can redistrict to advantage your party. What you can't do is disadvantage minority voters. And what Republicans always argue is that because Black voters, for example, vote 90% Democrat, when you disadvantage Democrats, you are also disadvantaging Black Democrats. So Republicans say, we're looking at the partisanship here. Democrats say, no, you're looking at race. And this is a racist assault on Black voting rights. And the federal courts have said, look, you can redistrict for partisan purposes. And so Republicans press that point. And they have been in this early part of the debate saying this is for partisan gain, had nothing to do with race.
It seems hard to imagine, though, Cal, that considering the Voting Rights Act of 1965, considering the population of the state, that African Americans have only 2 congressional representatives in the great state of Texas.
Yeah, and if you think about the racial makeup of the congressional delegation in Washington, I think it's 25 Republican seats right now.
Yes.
12 Democrat seats, and maybe a couple. And if you look at them by race, Anglos have twice as many seats as Hispanics do, even though they're even in the population, and there are 2 majority Black voting districts. So clearly, these districts advantage white voters that tend to vote about 70% Republican, disadvantage Hispanic and Black voters who tend to vote overwhelmingly Democrat.
Cal Jilson, we appreciate you, man. I know we call on you often, and I'm sure we'll be calling on you more often in this latest drama that is redistricting in Texas. Thank you so much, man.
I always enjoy the conversation. Thanks,
Good to see you, Cal.
All right, when we come back, Shaun, Rabb, and I try to put a bow tie on whatever this is.
Can't tie that knot. Can't tie that knot.
We'll be right back. Well, the special session is almost over, and Shaun, Rabb, there's a lot of other agenda items on the special session that I haven't heard hearings on. It's been all redistricting.
It has. Now, there have been some hearings on some other items that have got no attention.
And you had the Kerrville, hearing,
right,
which was significant, but we have no bill.
And we don't have a bill, and we won't have a bill introduced, most likely, until this is settled, I think. So they're pushing, the Republicans are going to really push these Democrats, and they're going to push them into a corner about holding up the business of the state. As you know, there are other important pieces in this session. Now, the governor put all these 18 pieces on the session. Perhaps, as Cal Jilson suggested, they shouldn't have done that, but they're there. And so now what happens if we don't get this done until the end of the session? Does he call another session for those?
Oh, definitely. I mean, you have this THC ban that he vetoed. It looks like the Senate version is not what he wants. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
You have eliminating the STAR test. The governor didn't think lawmakers went far enough when it came to property tax relief.
Right.
You had abortion pill restriction. It's 18 items. When I talked to the governor, I asked him, was that agenda kind of loaded? And he broke it down to, he said lawmakers, if you break it down, he did the math, and he said like they pass like 200 bills a month or something like that. So they should be able to pass 18. We haven't passed anything.
Right. And what do we got? 2 weeks, 3 weeks left? 2.5 weeks left?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be a problem. That's going to be the Democrats saying, look, we left the state for a good reason. We have drawn a line in the sand to protect people and their right to choose who they want to represent them. The Republicans are going to say the Democrats have caused a political traffic jam in our state, and they prevented us from getting important legislation through that could benefit all Texans.
Are we going to see retaliation from Democrat states, Gavin Newsom in California and others?
That's been the threat. Governor Newsom made that threat clear, and I think they'll follow through on it because it's not just Texas here. What happens here determines the numbers in D.C. At the House. And so to keep that balance, I say, yes, you'll see dominant Democrat states like a California redraw the lines midterm, squeezing Republicans in those states to try to keep the numbers where they are. So, yeah, I think you'll see that happen.
From you seeing this over a span of decades, this doesn't seem like we're heading down a track of eventual unity, nonpartisan boards. Like, that doesn't seem like what we're going to.
No, we are. The divide is becoming greater.
Yeah.
Politically speaking, it is in Texas and in our nation. I think it's becoming greater. And the two voices aren't equal. The voice on the right is louder and stronger than the voice on the left.
Democrats have been, and this is for some time, people say Democrats are soft. Democrats don't have a backbone. I'm just saying what people say, not me. But isn't this Democrat showing, okay, we'll stand up to the man?
It is a move of desperation because they have nothing else they can do. And this won't work either. But yes, it's like the last stand at the Alamo.
Mm-hmm.
We are defending the rights of citizens to the best we can. I mean, that's where we are, and ultimately it'll go to federal courts.
Governor Abbott told me that Texas is in the news right now because Texas's filing deadline is before a lot of other states. It's in December. I mean, this was calculated, right? Like, I mean, this was thoughtfully planned out.
Yeah.
Not talking about collusion, but I'm saying this was calculated to do it in the special session and why not do it during the regular session?
Well, because nothing else would have gotten done. That's the bottom line. This fight would have been in the regular session, and all of the bills that did pass, they wouldn't have gotten there had this been the first thing out of the gate.
We are. Where do you see us in 2 weeks? I know you don't have a crystal ball, but
so again, I don't think the Democrats can stay away until the end of this special.
This one?
Yeah, if they are able to stay away.
I think they can stay away for 2 weeks.
With a $500 a day fine, do the math. Somebody's going to have to step up and donate.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe the governor of Illinois.
They've been raising money.
Yeah. Okay, so if they stay out through the entire session, then second special 2.0, and we're back at the same place, back to square one with this matter. And
you asked the question, will all those other agenda items be on the second special, or will it only be redistricting? And then he calls a third special on the other items.
It's certainly possible. That's certainly possible. That's certainly possible. I'll tell you what, we are no closer. You talk about, are we closer to coming together in any way? The answer is no. There will never be, not for many years, my opinion only, an independent panel to draw maps in Texas. It's going to remain partisan.
My last question to you, and this is going backwards, but if that map stands, are we going to see VC is going to have to make a big decision. Or is it really Julie Johnson has to make a big decision? I think Jasmine Crockett is safe. I'm just saying.
We know Jasmine Crockett's district is safe. The two in question. And remember, Julie Johnson's district before Colin Allred belonged to Pete Sessions for many years, Republican Pete Sessions. So I think those two and the party, the state party, they will have to come together and try to say, okay, he's the senior. It's his right of refusal to run or not.
Yeah.
That's how I think it would have to come out. You don't want to split the Democrat Party that's already weakened in the state. If they want to have some strength, they got to figure out a way to be unified.
All right, the new shape of Texas. We'll have to see what that shape will look like. Make sure to go on Fox Local. We'll have all political coverage there and fox4news.com. Until then, we'll see you next time.